So the freeze dryer is almost dry, but not 100%, but I need to speed this up so I can get the next batch in. And I want to wash it out a bit after having the raw eggs in there. I usually rinse it out or clean it after raw eggs or raw meats or things. I don't know that it's necessary, but I'm sure it doesn't hurt. And if this was a commercial kitchen, I know I would. So I'm going to now. So I pull the seal off by pulling on the back edge of it and very carefully just start it. So very carefully, just a little bit. Okay. And on mine, I have a mark at the top, and I put this at the top each time so that everything fits the exact same way. Okay, so I'll set this aside, we'll clean it in a minute. Okay, that can come out. And these, and I'll wipe these down in a minute. Get the rack out. Oh yeah, and this rivet and this one, I drilled these two out, the rivets on this shelf, so then I can take this out and raise it up to this position when I'm trying to video into this shelf. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to watch for ice. Okay. I'll set this aside. So, got a gallon jug with water with a tablespoon of bleach in it to help disinfect it. And I better replace the drain container. All right, so that's how much water we got out of the eggs. So I've got a little twist tie. Oh, I just hold it up out of the way. And start by just pouring a little bit of it in there. It goes through the drain. All right. Then I'm going to turn off the drain valve. And then pour a little bit of this in there. Okay. There, so I just have a little bit of a puddle in there. Okay, and then I'll open the drain valve and drain that out. All right, and repeat. Like rinse, repeat. Yeah. I find it kind of relaxing cleaning the machine. It's probably because it's the only time it's quiet. And the thermometer, of course. Now over to the seal. So the fan in the front of the opening to just make sure everything gets real dry before we put the rack back in. Okay, so for cleaning this groove, I like to make sure that I don't spread it open or anything and cause any potential damage to it. So I use a thin palette knife and push that in there and then just go around it. Okay. That takes care of that side. And make sure that there's nothing in there. All right, so after the rack's in, then that piece is ready to go back in. And then the rack. All right, so if it has anything visibly on it, and I don't know that it really matters, so some of the times I take it up, put it in the sink, and wash out each area, but leaving this part alone, just wiping this area on the top. So basically, wipe down all the surfaces that you can. So basically, wipe down all the surfaces, dry them, and then I put them back in. So get this out of there. It's had oodles of chance to dry all the way. I don't know how the rack system may have changed over time, but you can get a buildup in between all of these. I'm going to set it in here a little bit. So you can get buildup in between there, and it's kind of hard to clean out. So I think this last year or sometime, I completely tore the rack apart and drilled out all the rivets and things to clean every little nook and cranny in there, and then reassembled it to make sure that there's no gunk in there. And it was kind of dirty in some of the areas. So I don't think I would do it very often, and I probably should not have reassembled it with the rivets, because now I'll have to drill them out again next time. Yeah, the little bolt would probably be a better idea. And thank you for the person that said, hey, fix that rivet. So yeah, I have this stuff. I have hundreds of these. It'd be real easy to have done a long time ago. Anyway, I did it. Okay, so now we'll reassemble it. Attach the wires. I'll very carefully slip it back in there. And I have the little baffle pieces that go alongside to help keep ice from hitting the edge of the rack. I'd like to try a whole plate, maybe a perforated plate, so solid a little bit and then perforated and maybe insulated at some point, but probably not during this series because I need to keep going. All right, so that's reassembled. Now the seal. All right, so as I mentioned before, I assemble it the same way every time. So I have, I don't even know if that shows up because it's so shiny. I have a mark on the top of here, and I just hold it right at the top and then start right there at that screw. So just finding the groove in the back, getting it just barely started, and then carefully work my way around. And I'm not pushing it all the way on at once, just kind of working it on a little at a time. All right. Okay, and then I just use this to just do a little bit to make sure that the seal is on all the way. Now, everything's ready, everything's clean, it's had a chance to dry. It's ready to go. Make sure that it's pretty level. But because I pre-freeze everything, it doesn't matter too much if it's perfectly level, except for the ice on the inside that forms. But also mine slopes backwards, so it's only level one direction. It's ready to go. So it's about 6:45, May 2nd. I still want to get 6:45 p.m. I still want to get the next batch in there, which is frozen cubed potatoes. So I'll let this pre-chill for half hour, 45 minutes, enough to get it cold, and then we'll get things in there. So everything's reassembled, it's ready to go. Going to customize. And I could look at these to make sure everything's where I want it. Yep, 6 hours freeze, 9 hours final. And that's, especially for potatoes, that's probably more than necessary. But I can check with the thermometers. If they're up to temperature, I can stop them earlier.